Ousmane Dembélé, The Electric Journey. Humble beginnings. In the small town of Vernon, nestled in the Eure department of northern France, a boy was born on May 15, 1997, who would one day dazzle the world's biggest football stadiums with his speed, flair, and unstoppable energy. His name was Ousmane Dembélé, and his journey was far from ordinary. Ousmane's story began not in luxury or privilege, but in modest surroundings. He grew up in a multicultural family, with roots stretching far beyond France. His mother was originally from Mauritania, and his father hailed from Mali. Their values were grounded in hard work, discipline, and strong cultural identity, qualities they instilled in their son from a young age. Life in Vernon wasn't easy. The Dembélé family lived in a humble apartment, surrounded by others trying to make ends meet. But while others saw concrete buildings and economic limitations, Ousmane saw a football pitch everywhere he looked. Whether it was a dusty courtyard, an alleyway, or a parking lot, to him, every open space was a place to practice, to dream, and to play.
The first touches of magic. Even as a child, it was clear that Ousmane wasn't like the others. He didn't just run with the ball, he danced with it. At the age of 6, he was already pulling off moves that made adults stop and watch. His dribbling, even back then, was sharp, quick, and creative. He was ambidextrous from the start, a skill that would later become his footballing superpower. His mother, Fatimata, played a vital role in his early development. She recognized her son's rare talent and became his #1 supporter. She accompanied him to tryouts, encouraged him through failures, and protected him from distractions. She knew the world could be tough, especially for a young black boy from a small town. But she also knew that her son had something special, something bigger than their struggles. Ousmane began his youth football at ALM Évreux, a local club not far from Vernon. The coaches noticed immediately that he was different. He didn't just follow instructions, he improvised. He played with a freedom that couldn't be taught, a raw instinct that you couldn't coach. He was a street footballer in spirit, creative, unpredictable, and fearless. At Évreux, he faced tougher competition, faster players, and stronger opponents, but Ousmane stood out. He was slight and skinny, but he was lightning quick, and his close control was already drawing attention. He could turn defenders inside out, switch the ball from left foot to right without losing momentum, and find space where there was none. It was like watching jazz in motion.
A shy boy with a bold game. Off the pitch, Ousmane was quiet, almost shy. He didn't talk much, but once he stepped onto the field, he became someone else. Confident, daring, bold. Football was his language, and on the pitch, he spoke fluently. Coaches and scouts began to talk about the boy from Vernon. Rumors of his talent started to spread beyond his small town. By the time he was 13, Ousmane moved to Évreux FC 27, a step up in his young career. The training became more structured. The environment was more competitive. He began playing with older boys, learning to use his body smarter, to read the game quicker. The Rennes opportunity. At age 15, a major turning point game. Ousmane was scouted and offered a place at the Stade Rennais Academy, one of France's most respected football academies. Moving to Rennes wasn't just about football. It was about taking a leap of faith. He would have to leave his home, his family, and his comfort zone. It was his first real challenge. The Dembélé family, particularly his mother, were cautious but hopeful. Rennes had a reputation for developing young talent. Players like Sylvain Wiltord, Yoann Gourcuff, and Mikhail Pages had come through their system. Ousmane accepted the offer. He moved to Rennes to live at the club's training center and began his journey in professional football. But it wasn't easy. The adjustment was hard. Ousmane was young, far from home, and competing with dozens of other talented players. He struggled with the discipline of training routines and with the physicality of more experienced players. At times, he felt isolated. There were even moments when he considered quitting. But every time he stepped onto the pitch, he remembered why he came.
With every pass, dribble, and sprint, he rebuilt his confidence. He trained harder. He listened to coaches. He studied matches. He learned when to take risks and when to hold back. He improved his decision-making, his positioning, and his teamwork. In just a couple of years, Dembélé moved from the Rennes U17 squad to the Rennes B team, where he began to shine. His skills were now sharper, his movements smarter. He wasn't just a flashy winger anymore. He was becoming a complete attacker.
The dream takes shape. By 2015, Ousmane was making headlines in youth tournaments across France. Scouts from all over Europe began to attend his matches. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, everyone was watching. But Dembélé remained focused. He knew that before he could conquer Europe, he had to prove himself in Ligue 1. In October 2015, at the age of 18, Ousmane Dembélé made his professional debut for the Rennes first team. It was the beginning of something special. Rising star at Rennes. When Ousmane Dembélé stepped onto the pitch for Stade Rennais' first team on November 6, 2015, few outside of French football circles knew his name. But by the end of the 2015 to 2016 season, he had become one of the hottest young prospects in Europe. He was only 18, but when he played, he didn't look like a teenager. He looked like a player born to dazzle. His first Ligue 1 start was against Angers CO, and although Rennes lost that match 1-0, it was Dembélé who caught the eye. He was fearless, lively, and played with the same flair he'd shown as a child on the streets of Vernon. The breakthrough goal.
On November 22, 2015, just 2 weeks after his debut, Dembélé scored his first professional goal in a 2-2 draw against Girondins de Bordeaux. The strike was classic Dembélé: quick footwork, sharp acceleration, and a calm finish. It was more than just a goal, it was a message. France took notice. Commentators began to whisper his name. Analysts started studying his footwork. Coaches across the league were planning how to defend against the young winger. But the truth was, no one quite knew how to stop him. What made Dembélé stand out was his two-footed ability. While most players favored one foot, Dembélé could dribble, pass, and shoot with either foot with equal confidence. Defenders couldn't predict his direction. He could cut left or right, switch flanks mid-game, or cross from either side. It made him practically unmarkable. And then came the hat trick. The hat trick that shocked France. On March 6, 2016, in a home match against FC Nantes, Rennes' bitter rivals, Dembélé delivered one of the most electric performances Ligue 1 had seen in years. He scored 3 goals, assisted another, and ran the Nantes defense ragged. The goals were clinical. One with the left, one with the right, one a powerful run through midfield. It was the full Dembélé package. The crowd at Roazhon Park erupted. It wasn't just a victory, it was a declaration. Ousmane Dembélé had arrived. The hat-trick made headlines across Europe. Newspapers called him France's next superstar. Clubs like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Arsenal, and Manchester United sent scouts to nearly every Rennes match from that point forward. But Dembélé wasn't distracted. His focus remained on development. He continued scoring, 12 goals and 5 assists in 26 Ligue 1 matches that season. An extraordinary stat line for a teenager playing his first top-flight season. Playing style and identity. Dembélé's game was thrilling to watch. He combined the unpredictability of street football with the precision of a top-tier winger. His explosive acceleration, low center of gravity, and quick changes of direction made him a nightmare to defend. But it wasn't just his physical tools that impressed. It was his vision and creativity. He loved cutting inside to shoot, threading passes into the box, or curling crosses from wide.
He could break down low blocks or exploit open spaces. And most impressively, he never seemed afraid, no matter the opposition. Coaches often said he played like he was still a kid in the streets. It was that sense of freedom, that joy that made him special. He didn't play by the book, he wrote his own.
Recognition and awards. By the end of the 2015-2016 season, Dembélé was named Ligue A's Young Player of the Year, joining the ranks of French legends like Thierry Henry, Zinedine Zidane, and Karim Benzema, who had once received similar early career praise. He was also nominated for the Golden Boy Award, given to the best under-21 player in Europe. While he didn't win that year, his performances had made a lasting impression on the football world. And Rennes, despite their long-standing reputation for developing youth, knew they wouldn't be able to keep Dembélé for long. Transfer tug of war. The summer of 2016 saw a transfer war break out across Europe. Clubs lined up for his signature. Some reports suggested that Barcelona and Real Madrid offered huge contracts. English giants like Manchester United and Liverpool made inquiries. But it was Borussia Dortmund in Germany who made the strongest pitch. They offered a team built around youth, Champions League exposure, and a coach, Thomas Tuchel, who promised to give Dembélé the freedom to be himself. For a player who valued creativity and development more than a paycheck, Dortmund was the perfect step.
In May 2016, Dembélé signed a 5-year deal with Borussia Dortmund for a reported 15 million euros. It was a bargain that would soon seem laughably low. As he left Rennes, fans applauded, not just his goals, but his humility. Dembélé had never sought the spotlight. He stayed grounded. He signed every autograph. He thanked every coach. And when he left behind not just goals, but hope for the next kid in Vernon dreaming of football greatness. The boy from Vernon had conquered Rennes. Now, the world was waiting. Dortmund breakthrough. When Ousmane Dembélé joined Borussia Dortmund in May 2016, the football world was still learning how to pronounce his name. But by the end of the 2016-17 season, no one would forget it. Dortmund was the perfect club for a young star with unlimited potential. Known for its passionate fan base, world-class training, and a philosophy centered around developing youth, Borussia Dortmund had already shaped players like Marco Reus, Mario Götze, and Robert Lewandowski. Now they would mold Dembélé.
Arrival in Germany. At just 19 years old, Dembélé moved away from France for the first time. Living in a new country with a different culture and language was a major challenge, but he wasn't fazed. His humility, quiet personality, and natural curiosity helped him adapt quickly. The club helped with language lessons and integration, and Dembélé focused intensely on his training. Under coach Thomas Tuchel, Dortmund promised freedom on the pitch, and they delivered. Tuchel knew Dembélé's talent couldn't be boxed into a strict system. He needed to play instinctively. Tuchel's trust in him became one of the defining factors of the season. Dembélé was given a role as a free-roaming winger, switching flanks with Marco Reus and playing behind striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The trio quickly became one of the most dangerous attacking units in Europe. Bundesliga debut came on August 14, 2016 against Mainz 05. It didn't take long for fans to see why Dortmund had fought for his signature. He brought the same energy, creativity, and pace that had dazzled League One audiences, but now he was doing it on a bigger stage. Over the course of the season, he was nothing short of electric. Every game he attacked with fearlessness. He glided past defenders, delivered dangerous crosses, and linked up beautifully with his teammates. Whether it was a match against relegation battlers or title contenders,
Bayern Munich, Dembélé always showed up. He finished his first season with 10 goals and 21 assists across all competitions. Remarkable numbers for a teenager in his first season outside France. His pace on the counterattack was deadly.
His ability to find pockets of space and create chaos gave Dortmund an edge in tight games. He played with such maturity and fearlessness that German media began calling him the French Messi. Champions League magic. It was in the UEFA Champions League, however, where Dembélé truly introduced himself to the world. Dortmund were drawn into a competitive group with Real Madrid, Sporting CP, and Legia Warsaw. Dembélé didn't just play, he dominated. Against Real Madrid, the reigning champions, he delivered a standout performance. With every touch, he brought the crowd to their feet. His dribbling kept Madrid's defenders on edge, and his combinations with Royce and Aubameyang caused constant danger. Dortmund topped their group, above Real Madrid, and Dembélé was central to that success.
In the round of 16, Dortmund demolished Benfica 4-0 in the second leg, with Dembélé assisting and controlling the tempo from wide areas. Although Dortmund would eventually be eliminated by Monaco in the quarterfinals, Dembélé's performances were widely praised. He had proven he could perform at the highest level, and not just as a role player, but as a star. The German Cup final. Perhaps the crowning moment of Dembélé's Dortmund career came on May 27, 2017, in the DFB Pokal final against Eintracht Frankfurt. It was Dortmund's chance to win silverware after several near misses. In the 8th minute, Dembélé opened the scoring in spectacular fashion. He picked up the ball near the edge of the box, danced past two defenders with breathtaking footwork, and rifled a shot into the top corner with his left foot. The goal set the tone. Dortmund went on to win the final 2-1, and Dembélé was named man of the match. That goal and performance were symbolic. It wasn't just about winning a trophy. It was about announcing to the world that Ousmane Dembélé was no longer a rising star. He was already a world-class player. Awards and recognition. By season's end, Dembélé had won the Bundesliga Rookie of the Season, earned a spot in the UEFA Champions League Breakthrough 11, and was shortlisted for the Golden Boy Award, this time as a serious contender. Top analysts and former players were unanimous in their praise. His footwork, his ambidexterity, his football IQ. At just 19, he was already one of the most valuable young players in the world. But with success came attention. Clubs from across Europe began preparing bids. The one that stood out above all came from FC Barcelona, a club in transition after the departure of Neymar to PSG. They wanted a new star to join Messi and Suarez. They wanted Dembélé. The transfer saga. In the summer of 2017, Barcelona came calling with an offer that shocked the world. 105 million euros plus bonuses, making Ousmane Dembélé the second most expensive player at that time. The deal created headlines worldwide. Some doubted the price, others questioned whether he was ready for the pressure of a club like Barcelona. But one thing was certain, his talent was worth betting on. Dembélé said goodbye to Dortmund with class. He thanked the fans, the club, and his teammates. He had only been there for one season, but he had left a lasting legacy. From a quiet teenager in Vernon to a global star in Germany, his rise had been meteoric. Now, his greatest challenge yet awaited, Camp Nou and the legendary Barcelona shirt. Big move to Barcelona. In the summer of 2017, Ousmane Dembélé made a move that would place him at the center of the football universe. At just 20 years old, he became one of the most expensive players in history, transferring to FC Barcelona for a staggering 105 million euros plus $40 million in add-ons. The world took notice. Barcelona had just experienced a seismic shift. Their Brazilian superstar, Neymar, had left for Paris Saint-Germain in a world record $222 million deal. The iconic MSN trio, Messi, Suarez, Neymar, was no more. The club needed a replacement, a symbol for the next era, a winger who could excite the Camp Nou crowd and bring balance back to their attack. They chose Ousmane Dembélé. The weight of a legendary shirt. Dembélé's transfer to Barcelona came with enormous expectations. He was joining one of the most historic clubs in the world, a team that had boasted the likes of Ronaldinho, Iniesta, Xavi, and Messi. The pressure was immense.
At his official unveiling at the Camp Nou, Dembélé looked excited, if slightly shy. He wore a confident smile, but stayed grounded. Cameras flashed, reporters bombarded him with questions, fans chanted his name. The club handed him the iconic number 11 shirt, previously worn by Neymar. It was a clear message. Dembélé wasn't just a signing, he was expected to become a star. But life at the top is rarely smooth. A nightmare start, injury and frustration. On September 9, 2017, during his La Liga debut start against Getafe, Dembélé attempted a sprint to chase down a ball near the sideline. Just 30 minutes into the match, he pulled up abruptly and collapsed, clutching his hamstring. The diagnosis was devastating: rupture of the biceps femoris tendon in his left thigh. He required surgery and was ruled out for nearly 4 months. The dream had turned into a nightmare. The media was harsh. Critics questioned his maturity. Others labeled him injury-prone. But what they didn't see was the effort happening behind closed doors. Hours of rehab, physio, and mental training.
Dembélé remained committed. He was determined to come back stronger. The road to redemption. In January 2018, Dembélé returned to the field. It wasn't an immediate impact. He was rusty, lacked rhythm, and Barcelona were already deep into the season. But he slowly found his footing, and by the end of the 2017-18 season, he had started to show flashes of brilliance. He scored his first goal for the club on March 14, 2018, in the Champions League against Chelsea, curling a powerful shot into the top corner. The Camp Nou erupted. Dembélé had arrived. Later, he scored a stunning brace against Villarreal and played an important role in Barcelona winning the La Liga and Copa del Rey double that year. It wasn't the season he had envisioned, but he had shown resilience. 2018-19 season, Dembélé unleashed. The following season, 2018-19, was when the football world saw what Dembélé was truly capable of in a Barcelona shirt. With Neymar gone, Dembélé had space to express himself. He developed better chemistry with Messi and Suarez, and began scoring crucial goals, late winners, long-range strikes, and solo efforts. Some of his best performances that season included a stunning extra-time winner against Sevilla in the Spanish Super Cup, an outrageous last-minute goal against Atletico Madrid to keep Barcelona top of the La Liga.
He ended the season with 14 goals and 9 assists across all competitions. More importantly, he was staying fit and playing with confidence. Barcelona once again won La Liga, and Dembélé played a vital part in the campaign. The Champions League miss. One moment, however, still haunts both Dembélé and Barcelona fans. In the 2018-19 Champions League semi-final first leg against Liverpool, Barcelona won 3-0 at the Camp Nou. In stoppage time, Dembélé had a golden chance to make it 4-0. He missed. In the return leg, Liverpool produced one of the most famous comebacks in football history, winning 4-0 and knocking Barcelona out. That miss was used as a talking point by critics, but it overshadowed what had been a strong season for the young Frenchman. Injury setbacks return. Just when it seemed like Dembélé had found his groove, injuries returned. The 2019-2020 and 2021-2021 seasons were marred by frequent muscular injuries. He missed large parts of both seasons, undergoing surgeries and spending more time in rehabilitation than on the pitch. It was a frustrating period, not just for fans, but for Dembélé himself. Each time he returned, he tried to rebuild rhythm, confidence, and chemistry. But the cycle of injury and recovery continued to take its toll. There were moments of brilliance, a few important goals, flashes of the old magic. But inconsistency and fitness issues dominated the narrative.
Despite this, Barcelona never gave up on him. Support from teammates and coaches. Throughout his Barcelona journey, Dembélé received support from some of football's biggest names. Lionel Messi, known for being reserved, was often seen encouraging Dembélé on the pitch and praising him in interviews. Messi once said, "Ousmane is a phenomenon. He has incredible talent. All he needs is consistency and confidence." Coaches like Ernesto Valverde, Quique Setién, and later Ronald Koeman all echoed a similar message. Dembélé was special, but he needed patience. And despite all the criticism and injuries, Dembélé's attitude remained positive and professional. He trained hard. He didn't respond to media drama. He focused on recovery and improvement. Contract crisis and redemption. In 2021, as his contract neared its end, Barcelona faced a difficult decision. Some within the club considered selling him. Others, including newly appointed coach Xavi Hernandez, saw him as essential to their future.
Overcoming adversity. For most players, repeated injuries, public criticism, and the pressure of a heavy transfer fee would be enough to break their spirit. But Ousmane Dembélé was not most players. His journey through football had never been smooth, but it was precisely that rough path that shaped his resilience. As the 2021-2022 season began, Barcelona was in turmoil. The club had lost Lionel Messi to PSG due to financial mismanagement. The team was rebuilding, struggling with poor results, and morale was low. Dembélé, still recovering from another injury, found himself at a crossroads. His contract was set to expire in June 2022, and the club was unsure whether to renew or move on. But amid the chaos, a new figure emerged: Xavi Hernandez, Barcelona's legendary midfielder and new head coach. Xavi's faith in Dembélé. Xavi took charge in November 2021, and from his first press conference, he made it clear he wanted Ousmane Dembélé to stay. "For me, Dembélé can be the best player in the world in his position," Xavi boldly declared, "but he needs to be professional, committed, and injury-free. He has all the talent." This public endorsement sparked a shift, not just in how fans viewed Dembélé, but in how Dembélé viewed himself. For the first time in years, a coach believed in him wholeheartedly. And the Frenchman responded. He returned to the squad in January 2022 with renewed focus and physical fitness. His dribbling was sharp, his passing crisp, his attitude on the pitch was positive, and for the first time in years, he looked free. Booed, then cheered. When Dembélé rejoined the team, not all fans were happy. During his contract negotiations, rumors had swirled that he wanted a big-money move elsewhere. Some supporters saw him as disloyal. In his first few games back, he was booed every time he touched the ball. But Dembélé didn't react. He didn't argue. He didn't ask to leave. He let his football do the talking.
In February 2022, during a match against Athletic Bilbao, Dembélé came off the bench and scored a stunning goal before assisting two more. The boos turned into cheers. The Camp Nou crowd erupted. Just like that, he had won them back. Statistical masterclass. From February to May 2022, Dembélé was unstoppable. He became the La Liga assists leader, despite missing nearly half the season. He formed a powerful connection with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, his old Dortmund teammate, and lit up the league with his creativity. In total, he recorded 13 assists and several key goals in La Liga, numbers made even more impressive by the limited minutes he played. Under Xavi, Dembélé was tactically disciplined, defensively aware, and offensively dangerous. He tracked back, pressed high, and created chances almost every time he had the ball. The doubters were silenced. A new contract, a new Ousmane. In July 2022, after months of uncertainty, Dembélé shocked everyone. He signed a 2-year contract extension with Barcelona, accepting a lower wage than originally offered. His reason? Loyalty, gratitude, belief in the project. In interviews, he said, "Xavi helped me understand what I can become. I'm happy at Barcelona. I want to win here."